Five, four, three, two, one. We are live. We are live with Tea with Unjacked, episode 28. And I have the internet philosopher with us right here on Discord. So do you have like a normal intro that you do?
No, not really. I just kind of go with the flow. So I guess I can introduce myself to the fine people of the unjacked universe who do not know who I am.
Sure.
I am the internet philosopher, and I'm a Norwegian economist that, shit post on Twitch about financial matters every now and again. And I do enjoy that a lot, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I've been doing it for about a month now, a little bit longer. So, and I was lucky enough to be invited to be on this podcast, which, feels very prestigious.
Well, I appreciate that.
So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you. Let me just roll out the kind of situation for everybody that's listening, watching in. This time we're doing it in two different ways. We are live on Discord in our stage room where people can just log in and listen to it. I will not be engaging in the chat until the end of the podcast, where I open it up to everybody to ask questions to either myself or our guest. And so I don't want anybody to feel weird that I'm not reading your chat or anything like that. This is not our normal stream day. This is an opportunity to listen to what the internet philosopher is bringing to the table, and I'm really excited to have him on. So yes, welcome everybody. We're opening up the podcast. This is exciting. Usually I have just regular gaming streamers on, and when you had suggested like that you would be interested in doing this, and I realized that you were not a gaming podcaster, streamer, whatever you want to call yourself, I got a little excited, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's not every day that you get to have a really deep conversation in something like finances. Now, I'm a little bit older, and I do dabble slightly, but not quite in the same way. Which part of the finance world do you focus in? Do you have a focus?
Well, sort of. I would say my main focus on Twitch is obviously right now cryptocurrencies. But if you were to look at my actual portfolio, I would say it's more of a global macro setup where I have mostly my money invested passively, but every now and again a bet will open up that I see that is too good not to take. So I will do those. So an example was last year when oil hit $16 a barrel. I figured that seemed kind of cheap, so I bought myself a few of those.
Yeah, that's
a few thousand barrels.
So you're probably doing pretty well right now, as far as that investment goes, because that's a great investment.
Pushed out at $25, and so yeah.
I feel like
I did make a lot of money off it.
Yeah, oil's one of those things that you could probably have a safe bet in almost. At least for now.
Yeah. Well, if you get it at $16, it's usually a pretty good bet. Obviously, maybe get the disclaimer out there. None of what I'm going to say in this podcast is to be construed as financial advice. You should contact a professional financial advisor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Your risks are your own, and your losses and gains are your own. So this is made for entertainment purposes only.
There we go.
Now you can't be sued. Doesn't that feel nice?
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we're not going to be getting into actual like finance advice, but it is possible. So I think it is worth, that's something I got to think about in future podcasts where if I have like medical professionals and other like lawyers or anything like that, I should probably have a little intro, sign this kind of thing, a waiver. But anyway,
I have a Nightbot do that for me. Every 20 minutes, Nightbot will drop a disclaimer in chat for me.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I have stopped by your stream. I was there, I think, last week, and you were going over like crypto and stuff like that. I don't remember exactly, but do you mine crypto or do you just buy it?
I just buy it.
Okay.
What I own right now are NFTs, and honestly, crypto is mostly of a hobby of mine. 99% of my money is in literally everything and anything else. Where I have in my Discord, I actually post a full breakdown of my portfolio that people can check out. So right now it's about 82% index funds.
Okay.
And I advocate, people don't like the fact that I tell them that they need a solid emergency fund before investing. I say 3 to 6 months minimum, hopefully a year of expenses set aside before you're really ready to start investing your money. So I have 82% index funds, then 15% are in stocks, and they can sometimes, that 15% is sort of liquid where I'll move that around to fit different bets I'm making at the time. Then I've got 2% in commodities and Forex, which is money, FX. And I use that 2% to leverage some of my risk away. Where if I, for example, bought like a huge US oil company and I'm already heavily invested in the S&P 500, now inadvertently, I've accidentally made a huge bet on the US dollar also increasing in value, right? Because all of these stocks and all of these things are traded in the USD. So then I'll short the USD against the Norwegian krone to make up any difference whilst I'm invested in those things. And that's what I use that 2% for. And then about 1% of my money is in cryptocurrencies and NFTs.
For those
So that's
that
my personal portfolio.
don't know or understand what an NFT is, do you have a way to explain that? And explain, yeah. Oh, explain like I'm 5.
Oh, yeah.
Eli 5. Sorry, Jesus.
Yeah. I'll give the simpler explanation of it. Obviously, there is a more like crypto-ish-esque technical explanation, but in practical reason right now, and this may change in the future because of the technology of NFT, but right now, an NFT is typically a piece of digital art, where it's like a digital painting, but it's minted up in a certain amount, right? Where we'll make 100 of them, and they have serial numbers from 1 to 100. So you can get the 100, but it doesn't exist more than the 100. So you own number 68, and own number 68. And then just like with Pokemon cards and anything else, people get a bit nutty over serial numbers and editions and all that stuff. So mainly I personally have something called VV NFTs that I buy and sell. So NFTs has been very kind to me. I've personally almost tripled my money over the last month in NFTs.
What would be your advice
very lucrative
to someone wanting to get into this? Where would somebody that has no idea about like NFTs, where could they go to get their start?
I would give the boring advice of make sure that you're ready to actually invest in something like this.
Right.
Note that this is 1% of my money. 1%. Meaning the rest of my money is put away in boring shit like index funds and stocks and long-term investments. So this is my supplemental investing income, I guess you could say. So if you got all that in place, and you've got a good portfolio and you're in a place where you can actually invest in these things without it breaking your bank if and when it goes wrong, because it is a very speculative bet at the end of the day. I would say, be very careful with where you get your information from, because you don't have a lot of friends in this space. You could obviously come check out my stream anytime and ask me questions directly, but there is no substitute for your homework, right? So if you are too lazy to sit down and actually figure out these things, then you shouldn't be dealing with them.
Right? Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's kind of these. Yeah, my little sister, I gave her a book about money, and she's like, "Oh, I want to be rich," and I gave her one of my absolute, like, the best book I know about, which is called "Your Money or Your Life" by Vicky Robin. It's my absolute all-time favorite book about personal finance. And I went, "Did you read the book?" And she goes, "No, I haven't read the book yet." And I say, "You're too lazy to be rich then." That's the simple fact of it. Nothing is free in this world. You got to do the work.
That's true. And before we get too far, I do want to reemphasize, while we are talking about investing, I hope that people do understand it is a good way to make money. It's also a very risky way to make money, and you should always be doing your homework. And I just want to echo again what he said earlier, which was you should not be putting all your money that you need into investing. You should be using the leftover money, the stuff that you have, to throw away, because you should never invest or gamble more than what you can afford to lose. So that's important.
Agreed. Yeah,
I do
you're
mostly
investing.
mutual funds and stock options. I do have some crypto. I was actually mining crypto for a while, so that's what really piqued my interest in this. Um, where where do people? I know I'd already asked, like, where would you start with NFTs, but like where would the uninitiated go for, like, maybe the resources to start reading up or watching? Do you have any recommended, like, channels or maybe like websites or anything that somebody could go into?
Cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, crypto, any kind of like investment that you focus on. Where would you point your viewers to? Like, hey, if you're just starting out, you definitely got to hit this spot.
You came to me and you said, you know, not like crypto, but generally, how do I get the most out of my investments? How do I learn about money?
Mhm.
And you didn't want to do it with me. I would say, Your Money or Your Life is an amazing book. The Fire Movement. Those are, the best ones for financial stuff. Um, so that would be like, he's got a silly name, but his information is really good, which is Mr. Money Mustache. And
It's a great
then you
name.
have my Danish brother, Jacob Lundfisker. Yeah, it's fantastic. Which is Early Retirement Extreme, which is a good blog to check out. And so those three resources, if you were to go Mr. Money Mustache blog and Early Retirement Extreme and get the book Your Money or Your Life, I would say you probably got everything you need at that point. At that point,
Okay.
it wouldn't, you wouldn't need anything else. That would give you everything you would need to know to live a very healthy, happy financial life for forever, and probably retire within the next 10 years if you follow that advice, financially speaking, that is.
Do you think NFTs are the future? Like, I
I
like
think
is
NFTs are part of the future.
okay. So not just like a fad or anything like that.
Well, I mean, the way we are seeing them right now, I think 90%, 99% of the stuff you see now is going to die for sure. And
Okay.
then a few of them are going to make it and become huge. So um, that's the whole thing. Where in the tech bubble, yeah, you got your Microsoft and Amazons, but you also had a billion company or a million companies you never heard about that just died.
That's actually very true. There's a lot more than what people just read in CNN or all those popular mainstream sites. Yeah, crypto and a lot of different investments. It's kind of crazy because, like, since I'm almost in boomer territory, I obviously have a Facebook, and I see a lot of those Facebook groups in there. Now this is more towards cryptocurrency, this statement, but there's groups that I belong to, like Litecoin and stuff like that, and it's just a bunch of guys in there trying to tell people to hodl. And I don't feel like a lot of these places are really good safe havens to get information. It's just a bunch of people that are really trying to pump and dump. And do you think, in your opinion,
Yeah.
cryptocurrency is still being pumped and dumped on a regular basis, or when does it
Oh
become
yeah.
stable?
Oh yeah. Um, when it becomes regulated, that's sort of the sad truth of it. Um, because obviously, as long as there is no consequence for manipulating the market, why wouldn't you, as a bad actor?
That's a fair point, and I know that here in the U.S. They've talked a lot more lately. Maybe not in the mainstream news or anything, but more about regulation, more about big agencies getting in there and controlling it a little bit more. Do you see it outside of the U.S.? Like, you're over there in Norway, and how does your country deal with this, or is it a global thing? Where do you see it going?
Say this is probably in a big way a global thing. I do follow a few of the forums around, like on Facebook and stuff, and It is very, very clear to me that a lot of these people that are in these forums, and even people hailed as experts in this forum, have very, very little actual competence with what they're doing, and they are, uh, I mean, out of fear of sounding elitist, they are uneducated in manners of finance. They are inexperienced, and they are definitely, knowingly or unknowingly leading people to their doom financially.
Yeah, I'm very scared because I like Facebook scares me probably the most out of all the platforms because
Yeah,
that's where our parents are,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
And I think this is very easy. I mean, even at my age, like I'm from the IT world. Like I understand how a lot of the technology works. And I almost
Yeah,
feel like I'm on the cusp of not understanding what's going on. And so
oh, for sure.
if
Yeah,
I'm that way and I've had, 20 plus years of like IT training and everything else, I'm so scared of like somebody like my mom putting in her life savings into like one of these groups and saying, buy all the Litecoin you can.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, these pump and dump groups, I get invited to one at least a few times a week. They are all scams, and they don't work. There is an old saying in finance, which is you don't have friends in finance, right? And that rule is pretty absolute. The only reason I'm teaching the stuff I'm teaching is it's general. If I had some gold mine where I could just hit this trade every day and I would make money almost guaranteed, I would make like outsized returns, even like if it was like 10-15% a year, which would be an insane rate of return in the long term.
I would
If
agree.
you could make 10-15% a year, you would be so goddamn rich you wouldn't have any idea what to do with your money. I mean, Warren Buffett became the richest man on the planet making 20% a year. Right. Just
Yeah. I
let that
mean,
sit for a while.
to have that kind of income coming in like that would be amazing. I mean, I remember a point where you could get 1% return on your savings account at your bank, and now they won't give you anything.
Yeah.
So this world is harder and harder to get some realization on your money.
Yes.
I want to switch gears just for a few minutes because I'd like to kind of talk about your background a little bit and how you got here. You said at the beginning that you've been streaming on Twitch for about a month. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
What would bring somebody like you to a platform like Twitch in the first place?
Well, it's kind of a coincidence. I did start watching Twitch a little bit, and I did start, going to check out different channels and different communities. And I was like, this is kind of fun. And a lot of people that I know, friends of mine, were encouraging me to do it. So I took some time to think about it and what would be my role in this thing. And I run a charity on the side, which I'm unfortunately going to have to close since I'm moving, where we cook for people in need, people with, substance abuse problems and poverty and stuff like that. So we put in about 30 hours a month doing that.
That's awesome.
And yeah, thank you. I'm having a ton of fun doing it. I just found a cool way to use my hobby to make the world a better place. And I started thinking that through financial education, which is, right now I'm mostly doing crypto stuff, but over time I'm looking to, morph my channel into more of a general economics and finance place where you can come and learn about everything money. And you can come in and you can basically ask questions, and through financial education I can make the world a cooler place, because we need less losers in this world. I mean, that's the only way we're going to make any progress, really.
Yeah, I think that's a great
Uh,
way to put it. It is a little bit harder to reach people these days just because of the saturation of voices, I guess you could say. In that segment here on Twitch,
yeah.
I'm not familiar with the financial segment. Were there any channels that encouraged you to come on board and kick this off, or is the financial aspect here on Twitch pretty small?
Well, for now I'd say it's pretty untapped. There are a few big players, but it's like the rest of Twitch, right, where 1% of the actual streamers get 99% of the audience. So it's definitely the same way there as it is for the rest of Twitch. And I think that's just the way Twitch is built, where if you are reaching that 1%, then, people search from most viewed to least views, and they will tend to go to the biggest streamers first, because that's obviously going to be the best stream logically. But the thing with social media is it's not necessarily the quality of your message or character. It is your ability to present yourself that really matters for anything. So, and because people generally don't have a way to, adequately critique whatever they're watching, and the quality of the information they're getting, because they are new to this and searching for, a voice to guide them, then that's usually how it goes, where they will go to whoever is the biggest, whoever presents themselves the best, like an expert.
We are a community of number lovers.
Yes.
How do you how do you overcome that from your point of view? Like, I know how I did it, but do you have a plan in action? Slowly?
Well, yeah, at this point, it's sort of started going a little bit on its own, where I'll gain a few followers every stream, just because, new people are finding it, which is very cool. And obviously coming on here, I'll find new people who are interested in what I have, and they will come check it out every now and again. So it's one of these things where it's definitely slow going, but I've been at it for a month, and I'm very happy with my progress for sure.
Yeah, I think, especially for only being on for a month, I would say you're doing pretty well. I see a lot of people I see a lot of people starting on Twitch, and they have a direction they want to go into, but then reality sets in that Twitch is a little bit hard to kind of get a footing in. And but I think if you offer the content and you're there enough, you will eventually break in. Maybe, depending on what you do. It's not always the case, but as far as your channel goes, do you have like an end game plan of what you hope it turns into, or have you even thought about like how long you plan on doing this, or is it just let's go and see how this turns out?
There's an interesting thing where Jacob Lundfisker, who runs the blog Early Retirement Extreme, he did that for years and years, and he didn't, have a defined plan. And then one day he wrote a blog post going, I started 3 blog posts this week, and he has this search tool where he'll search through his blog to search for similar posts that he previously made. And he realized, oh shit, I've written 4 posts like these already. And then he did that a few more times, and he went, listen, I've said everything that I feel I need to say about money, so I quit.
Wow.
And because he's financially independent, then, why would he keep going? And that's my end goal also, where if this thing lasts another 5 or 6 years, I'll be so close to financially independent that if I feel I've said everything I need to say about money, and that I've educated all the people that I think I should be educate, or my stuff is so easy to find that whoever is new and would want to be educated could use the resources that I have provided, I'd be happy to call it a day.
I think that's fair too. Because of what you just said, it makes me curious. If there are other people out there putting out the same information, what makes you different?
Well, I think a lot of the information is kind of invisible. So I'm not so different as in I'm producing more of it. Whereas there are other people playing Among Us on Twitch, but the reason it's big is because there's a lot of people doing it, right?
Right.
And that's, the community goes with it and everything. And so what I'm doing is more adding visibility than uniqueness, I'd say.
I think it's a good plan to come at. I mean, a lot of people don't understand what sets them apart. And it can be daunting, especially for somebody who's just coming onto the platform. You have goals, everybody, does. And then you realize like, oof, this is harder than what it is. And I got to set myself up to be unique or offer something that, they can't get in other channels. So I always like to ask that question because A lot of people have like that one, maybe it's a quirky personality, maybe it's, inside information, which obviously in finance that's very rare, but or at least illegal. Depending on
And
what you're
why would I
investing.
share it if I didn't?
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So, finance is a little bit harder to separate yourself from other people, and that's why I wanted to ask that question. It's you know,
Yes.
here in the U.S., I'm sorry, I don't have world like references. I don't watch TV much, but I can remember, somebody like Jim Cramer. He takes a lot of flack on the internet,
Yes.
but at the time, when I used to watch him in 2008, 2006, I watched him because he had an interesting character to him. You got the energy, and yeah, so that's why I like to ask, like, how does each person bring it? Do you have
Yeah.
what's your normal schedule? Maybe there are probably a few people out there who would love to catch your show.
Oh, yeah. Well, I stream. I try to get 3 days a week in. So the only thing that I have, set in stone is my 5 o'clock on Fridays, which is like a market recap. But usually I do try to stream 2 to 3 times a week. And, being a full-time student, it does make it harder to really get into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean it is challenging. I'm lucky that I don't have a college degree program that I'm in or a full time job. So I can understand from somebody in your shoes. Trying to build yourself up and get yourself out there. You're going to school for finance or for something else, or you don't have to share if you don't want. But
Yeah, I worked for 10 years, so I'm sort of formalizing my education now, where I used to raise capital for oil tankers for a little while. I worked in insurance and I worked as a stockbroker. So I've done finance for a while. Also, I've obviously invested my own money for a long time, and I'm very into personal finance. So I have a good amount of experience, which I think is also one of these things where people want to do something for like 1 year, and then all of a sudden they're an expert in it, which that's kind of not how it works in the real world.
what are what are other expectations that people have when they talk to you? Do they have like, I'm going to be rich in a year after this? Thank you so much. I appreciate you
Yes,
turning me on to this
yes,
coin. Or
yeah, yeah, definitely. I try to dissuade the whole get rich quick thing, but it's a very natural human impulse, and we all have to fight that if you want to be an actual successful investor.
yeah, I agree. And being
It's
successful obviously is taking home a lot of W's. In what you
yeah,
do,
oh yeah,
in the space that you operate at, I imagine that you see a lot of scams. Is
a lot. Yeah,
is
in fact, I've covered quite a few of them on my Twitch channel.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, then this next question should be a good one then. Um, what are like the most popular scams that people can stay away from? Like, what's the biggest ones I can identify and just not interact with? Like, I don't want to get scammed. What's some of the most obvious ones that you could share?
Okay, so if you're in the investing space, I would say anybody promising you returns, that's illegal. Anybody projecting anything more than 7 to 8% a year, that's highly unreasonable and unlikely. Again, Warren Buffett became the richest man on the planet by having 20% a year,
It's
and
insane.
he's known as the best investor to ever live. So anybody offering you like 1% a day, or a certain percentage a week, or whatever, anything above 8 to 10% a year is highly unreasonable to expect from the stock market. And the same kind of goes with cryptos. The thing is, it's been so many people have been making outsized gains in cryptos because it's been a huge bull market the last 2 years, that people are kind of forgetting the fact that this isn't going to last forever. So it's people get sucked into these scams all the time. But we had an interesting one on stream where there's this scammer called Brian Rose. He runs something called the London Reel, which he's supposed to be like a free speech advocate kind of person, but he strikes down people on YouTube and does all sorts of shitty things. And basically, he was running for mayor of London, And what he did was he took his campaign money and started betting on himself for mayor of London.
Oof.
And obviously, at that point, he will skew the odds, giving himself better odds of winning. So he'd be like, "Oh, the bookies got me at third place. The bookies got me at third place. We're winning the election. If you guys push on and we vote, whatever." Which, if you looked at the actual statistics, he's, I think we calculated 0.34% of the total votes could go to him, which wouldn't make him actually and Amar Khan, I think was the name of the guy who's probably winning. He's got like 53% of the votes. So he's got some catching up to do. So what we did on stream was we went live and then we went to these betting sites and then we placed what's called a lay bet, which means I'm betting against him winning, which those things had like odds of 100, which I got it at odds of 45, meaning I 45 times my money by $100 whenever he loses the election.
Oh my goodness.
So that's going to be very profitable now and within next week.
And so that's going on right now.
That's going on right now. You can go, I think you can still go bet on the Brian Rose London election if you are able to bet in your country.
How is
where
that?
You can put a lay bet on him.
That's incredible. How is that not illegal to use your campaign funds to basically gamble with? I mean, not that you should know
sure
what the law is, but I'm just, it's more rhetorical. But like, wouldn't that be illegal in most places?
Oh, for sure. I would assume so, but doesn't stop him from doing so, I guess.
That's incredible. Maybe this is where regulation.
So if I go on Betfair right now, I'm going to go check the odds of him winning right now. Which the thing is, we forced him to put more money in on him winning because of this.
Oh, so every time you put a bet, he has to put up a little bit more money, or? Yeah,
because bookies aren't in the business of making bets. They want it to be
make money.
Yeah, exactly. So right now you can get 89 to 1 if he loses.
Dude, that's
but he's 79 to 1 if he wins. So we kind of made it such that he doesn't really look like he's winning anymore. Because all the other ones are like 1,000 to win. But there's no money in either side of that trade. So because there's money on that side, I'll message you. Obviously, you may want to be careful putting this thing in your chat because kids and stuff.
no worries. No
gambling.
Worries.
But yeah, if you put in on a lay bet, you could make a bit of money doing that.
That's interesting. This is the first time I'm actually hearing about this.
So this is a trade we did on stream.
Okay.
Where this guy's a complete joke. He's an absolute scam artist.
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this link into the live chat, the audience chat here on Discord. So if anybody that's listening from the Discord, if you want to see this, it's in the live chat room. That way you're tracking.
Listen, if you put like $500 on this thing, you're moving his odds. You're halving it. Which he's not spending a shit ton of money to do this because there's literally zero. But the bookies, they don't want to be in the betting business. And as soon as there's too much money on one side, they will change the odds. So the odds aren't really calculated on who's actually going to win and lose. It's calculated on where the money is at so they can make a safe spread.
That is very interesting. I mean, this is an area of the world that I don't travel much in. Not me
neither, but I've found a way to bet on it because obviously it's a world event that, I can bet on financially. And that is at the end of the day what I do.
I have to ask, because this is a bridge to the next question. How often do you do this? Do you play?
Whenever opportunity presents itself.
Maybe I should ask, how many times have you done something like this?
Usually something like this will pop up once a year. Like in 2019, this is my 2021 thing.
Okay.
So in 2019, it was the World Championship of Soccer being held in Russia. Right?
Oh, that's always a good bet,
least,
right?
I believe that was 2019. Oh, yeah. Let's just say.
This is incredible that this is not illegal somehow. But
it was 2018. My bad, 2018. Yeah.
2018.
So in 2018, I bought the Russian ruble ahead of the soccer championships in Russia because I know that all of Europe wants to watch soccer. It's
Oh,
huge, and the
easily.
World Championship will literally draw millions of people. Now, the Russian ruble is a tiny currency, and I don't really feel like I can trust the Russian stock market, nor that if I could get exposed, I would have doubts doing that. But I
Okay.
do know the Russian ruble is a tiny currency that nobody gives a shit about usually, and the euro is a big currency.
Yeah.
So buying the Russian ruble against the euro, when I know that the big banks are going to have to move money into there so they can change money for tourism, I know the Russian ruble is going up.
So you get in on that, and then you can pretty much
Yeah,
cash
so
out.
these are my macro plays.
Yeah, I have. So I've experienced that as well. Because I've lived overseas outside of the U.S. South Korea, the won, Philippines, and several
Yeah,
other places, and getting the float is real. A lot of people don't understand that exchange rate really matters in a different country. So, okay,
exactly.
I can see that. Matter of fact, it was well from our point of view because I was in Korea. I was with the military living there, and they actually, when we landed, they were like, all right, listen, just so you guys know, we know about this way to make money, and we look at anybody taking large quantities out of their bank account and switching it over to like local currency and vice versa. But there was a lot of guys out there still making the float on the exchange rate. So
Yep.
I wonder how big is that segment? How many? It's got to be huge, right? Around the world. I mean, how many people are really doing that? I wonder. It's I'm
Well,
sure it's a
yeah,
lot.
I mean, if you the thing is, like airport point exchange places and stuff are usually stiffing you pretty badly.
Right.
But if you are like I'm sitting here comfortably, just buying and selling currencies from my home, yeah, you can do that and make money. But a lot of people get into this whole technical analysis day trading thing, and they usually lose their shirt doing that. That's usually not a very good idea. I call technical analysis for financial astrology.
Yeah, that's a good descriptor there. What is the most popular way to invest into floats? Do you know that? I mean, it's a random question, but here in the U.S., a lot of people don't go outside of our borders. It's a huge country. Most people will spend their entire lives here. They won't even realize that there's like an exchange, way to float monies and currencies and stuff like that. Where
Mm.
where would you go for
Well, when
that?
you say float, I would say floats. When you say that to me, I think volume, daily, weekly, yearly,
Yeah,
and uh, so that the question then becomes, what kind of float are you looking to invest in? But obviously, any investing, if you think about it, is an indirect investment in floats, because obviously you're going to need the liquidity to get in and out of whatever you're buying and selling.
right.
But if you are talking about getting ahead of order flow, which would be, that in your case, there's about 200,000 new US troops moving into this country the next week. So you buy a shit ton of the local currency to then sell it back to them at a premium.
That's big brain right there.
That would be, obviously, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that sounds like what you guys would
But I mean,
doing.
that's reading the market.
Uh,
So that's doing your homework. There's
I would
nothing
say
wrong
that
with
that's
that.
pretty, yeah.
But
That's
I would
like
just say
reading
most
weather
people wouldn't
patterns
even look at
when you're
something
buying
like
wheat
that.
or other.
Uh, could you
Yeah.
go to a website and
No, for
just buy
sure.
currency?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Most brokers will offer you currency trades if you want to. Like I've got several broker relationships that I've had for a long time.
Do you
So it's definitely possible.
do you ever see yourself getting into the industry of like instead of like giving the advice, but like building your own website, your own exchange, or something like that? Um,
No, for sure not. That game is extremely competitive, and um, a lot of the brokers out there are kind of scummy and kind of shitty, and a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, you probably don't make a whole lot of friends in this segment without being scummy. I feel like because you're really trying to like you're using legit data to screw other people out of money. I would imagine, right?
Yeah. Oh
Because
yeah. Well, the way Robinhood makes their money is by selling your trade data to the big hedge funds and letting them profit of it. That's why you get commission-free trading, which is not really commission-free because you pay the spread. So it's just you don't see how much you're paying for it.
Right. It's like getting free shipping, but your shipping was packed into the price of the object.
Exactly. Yes.
Those are my favorite. A lot of people out there, they don't understand how that stuff works. So as long as you tell them it's free, they're like, oh, that makes it better. We're good. Robinhood was underneath fire.
Not free.
Just a few months ago. And I'm surprised that they're still around after that big oopsies, I guess you could say. And I did some reading after that to really see how these places operate. And it's not good. Yeah, I think what you said earlier about them being scummy is very true. Why?
Yeah. I would never have a broker where I don't pay a commission because I need them to make money off me, like the old-fashioned way where they actually have my interest. I'm paying them to transact my stock buys and stuff.
Yeah, I use certain investment firms, such as the big ones here in the U.S., and Edward Jones and all those, and I pay them a percentage of whatever my gains are, because I agree with you.
Yeah.
What incentive does somebody have if you're not paying them, right? Like they don't have your best interest. They want, you get a Bernie Madoff situation is what happens there.
Well, here's where the other side has a problem, right? Because you will have people with the same business model. They can fuck you over both ways for sure. So you got to still do your homework where you're not being overcharged for your investments, because like a 1% fee over the lifespan of a 30-year investment will take 30% of your gains away.
Yeah, that's huge. That is enormous. I'm still surprised
because imagine they're taking 1% of your portfolio every year, right? So that's 1% that can't grow next year. So when you compound that up, that turns into about 30% of your entire supposed return over those years.
But if you make much more than that, are you okay with that?
Well, I mean, I'd pay 1% easily if I could make 3% over market on average, for sure. But I would need to see and know that I'm getting, I'm paying these people, I'm getting value for my money, if that makes sense.
Right. No, that does make sense. Like a company like Edward Jones does charge 1%. And, but I will say, even though they took 1%, for example, last year from me, they made me a lot of money.
Mm.
So,
well, I mean, did they make you a lot of money as compared to the market that they are?
Yes.
So if that's the case and they keep doing that, then, I would be fine paying for that. But most funds don't. And that's the reason why I recommend the index funds for investing, generally speaking.
You know what?
Which isn't the sexy advice, but it's good advice.
I think also some good advice is how to manage risk in your financial portfolio. How do you normally come at explaining to somebody that's just coming in, how to manage that risk? Whether like how to spread out your portfolio. Where do you come at from something like that?
Well, I try to see who I'm talking to. All right. So if I'm talking to, Joe and Jane, they're not investment professionals. They're not really interested in the financial markets or whatever. I generally just say buy index funds and try to spread them out so that you have a US index fund and a good European index fund and some Asian index funds. And if you can find them, get a few African ones, because that part of the world is going to start growing like crazy now. I've been looking for the last 5 years for a good way to invest in Africa. That is not through China necessarily, but I am considering just buying the shit out of Chinese infrastructure companies, because they are the ones going to be making all the money there.
Yeah, and you're referring to their Silk Road project or One Road to China project. I don't know the official name off the top of my head, but
I don't like owning things in China though, because the government tends to come and take it from me.
Right. I actually have a substantial stake into small business cap for Asian companies that have done
Yep.
outstanding. Now, I'm not saying please don't go out and rush to buy those, but I would say like for me,
Oh,
small cap investments over in Asia has been fantastic. So when you mention Africa, that kind of excites me a little bit, but I don't know how exactly to get into small cap funds and stuff like that in Africa. Africa seems still to be a little fragmented, just government wise, but I don't know from the investing side. Is Africa something in our near future or now that we could be looking at?
no, that would be a 20-year bet for me.
Okay.
That would be the thing that makes me rich when I'm 70, but it'll make me fucking insanely rich when I'm 70.
Africa is a very complex continent. At one
Oh,
side,
for
you have
sure.
the poorest of the poorest human beings, and maybe even people that do not experience regular society like we do. And then you have the other side of Africa, which is like in a lot of ways no different than a first world country. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
so it's
And
it's such to me it's a scary place right now. I like if somebody came in
yeah,
and said, "Hey, would you like to put 10 grand in this?" I'd be like, "Oof." I
I'd
don't.
ask where and when, and
y-
I put, yeah,
Yeah,
for
I would
sure.
want to know more.
But I get deep into weird investments. Like, one of the weirdest things I found was, did you know that you can buy African pirate ships
No, I had no idea.
on the
Wait,
deep
wait,
web?
what did you say? Fire chips?
Nope, pirate ships.
Oh, pirate ship. Okay, that's very different.
I
I
haven't obviously invested in African pirate ships. I just thought it was hilarious that this was a thing where you can go on the deep web or dark web and you can find these stock exchanges that are not legal per se.
okay.
And what will happen is they have markets in certain parts of Africa where, along the coast where you have pirates. And these markets will have stock exchanges where they will bet on certain, like you will buy a part of the ship. And that part of the ship is like guaranteed. So let's say you raise 10 grand for the ship or whatever. It isn't really 10 grand. It's a lot less depending on the ship.
Right.
You have ships all the way from like little dinghies to huge actual Navy ships that'll fuck you up. They have cannons and stuff.
And
And obviously, that'll be like your Microsoft pirate ship. And then you have like a little dinghy, which is like a penny stock pirate ship. So you can make bets on these, and the bets will entitle you to a share of the spoils of whatever this is.
wait a minute. This okay. I understand what you just said. Th- wow. That's like giving your neighbor like $500 if he breaks into your other neighbor's house, and you're like, dude, whatever you get, I want a piece of that.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, they are looking to get, usually these are off the European coasts. So they are traveling to like Spain and stuff and trying to rob fishermen boats and stuff and such over there. So it's more like those kinds of things there.
They
They're trying
can't
to
possibly
rob.
have a lot of success.
No, no, no. 90% of them die in sink, which I
Okay. Okay.
obviously I haven't bought any of these. I just thought it was hilarious that it exists at like a financial market because starting a pirate ship is kind of expensive. So to pay the crew and stuff to take this risk because the money goes to the family eventually, because 90% of them die. Uh, they get these like little big markets where there's a guy who's like a market maker, like you would see back in the good old days in the New York Stock Exchange, where they would have like trading pits, and there's yelling and screaming, and people make trades and buy stocks in these pirate ships, and that money goes to pay the crew and the family of the crew. And when they go out, if they then come back again, a certain percentage of dividends is divided up amongst the shareholders, which is their return on their investments.
My mind is blown. I have never even considered that this would be a real thing. Um,
Yeah.
is
And
there
then
any?
obviously they went on the internet, so now you can go buy yourself your own prime share of an African pirate ship company.
Oh my god, dude, that is insane. Okay, that is a really weird investment. Are there any other kind of weird
Yeah.
investments that would also make me go, "What?"
Oh, I mean, you can literally invest in anything at the end of the day. Um, there's some stuff that is traded very actively that may surprise you, like pork bellies and orange juice.
I could. Well, I
If
mean,
you go
bacon and
on,
orange juice is kind of a value, right? It is a commodity.
oh yeah, Well, I mean, they're
That's
traded with contracts, obviously, too.
yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, that's definitely the weirdest one I know of. And obviously, there are some more like the pirate ships is kind of a meme, and they're kind of funny, but also obviously horrible. But then you have, the really depraved shit that you can buy and sell on the internet, which obviously I don't want to get into that here. Uh, I've seen some of it, and I think it's disgusting. The pirate ships was the only one that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to give anybody ideas or anything, but I'm
No,
blown
no,
away by the pirate ship thing. I've never even considered that would be a tradable source. So,
yeah.
wow, I'm learning a
You
little
can
bit
own.
here.
I, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that shit, I was like, man, to be able to say that I've owned a piece of a pirate ship would be insanely funny. However, they do some horrible stuff out there in the seas, and the legality of such an investment, I imagine, is fraught with danger at best
I think
and
I would
highly illegal.
struggle. I know that there are people out there that have the conscience of somebody that just be like, no big deal, man. Just vest to those guys. I hope they get everything, But for me, like I couldn't.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I would not be able to sleep at night knowing that I
No, no,
potentially,
no. I
put
wasn't
somebody in
into it.
harm's way.
I just found it when I was looking for investment opportunities in Africa, and I thought it was hilarious.
That's interesting. There's a lot of investment opportunities in Africa. Even like marijuana strains. I was watching Vice, I don't know, a couple months
Sure.
ago, where they're doing like land races for marijuana strains, and they were actually going through Africa. And it's a big thing here in the U.S. A lot of people are starting to invest a lot more in like cannabis companies, whether they're seed banks, whether they're dispensaries or grow houses, or there's so many different spots. And I do find that there is a lot of that kind of stuff in Africa as well as we develop as countries.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do you
There's a ton of
speak
good
of?
farmland in Africa.
Oh yeah, unbelievable amounts. But I'm not sure how much I trust those investments over there. Right? How much they've been developed and everything else. Speaking of the cannabis
Yeah.
industry, how do you see the investment side in that part? I'm actually curious from somebody with your background. Do you see value in the upcoming cannabis industry worldwide?
Yeah, I do. I think it went a little bit wild a year or so ago,
Yep.
where it became very feverish and unsustainable. Where, I think we were just getting off what were we just finishing? I don't remember, but now it seems like that cannabis money is kind of flowing back into cryptocurrencies, and there's this crowd of people who are like, "Oh yeah, yeah, it used to be gold, and then it went from gold to cannabis." Because for a little while now, gold was super hot, and everybody was like, "Oh, you got to buy gold, you got to get gold," and then those people all of a sudden became like cannabis investment professionals all of a sudden, and you see a lot of these YouTube channels just rebranding their shit, right, and deleting all their old gold videos, and now they're all about the cannabis, or even in some cases because gold obviously crashed horribly. They are, you know, seasoned investment professionals with experience in gold trading or whatever.
Right.
And now they're all just shilling whatever cannabis stock is hot this week. And I think they're all getting paid to do that stuff. I think it's blatant
Yeah.
market manipulation.
I was gonna
And
say
what
like I always feel like
oh
it's
yeah,
kind of shady, because while I do think the industry is real, I feel like a lot of people are making up opportunities when there's really no opportunities to be had in some regards.
yeah,
Where
for
like
sure.
invest in Canada company this they're looking up land races or whatever it is, and it's like
Yeah,
I just feel like you're just using cannabis to kind of like get my money.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that is still a thing where if you put 420 on something or like cannabis leaf, that immediately increases the value of whatever that thing is, and that's a very like bubbly sign of things to come.
Um,
So I think when the cannabis space settles down a little bit and becomes more efficient, I think you can pick some winners and start making actual money.
yeah, I get scared of penny stocks, and that's where a lot of them sit. Um,
Yeah.
I've had some misses on penny stocks that I wish I would have got in on the ground floor before they took off. Let me ask you, what's the hottest like area right now that people are jumping to? Whether it makes sense or not, what's everybody kind of like getting in on?
I would say NFTs and cryptos for sure is where the crowd is moving, and the crowd is usually a good way to make money short term, but in long term you will get burned because the crowd usually ends up losing money on everything they do because they hold on for too long. So it's one of these where if you can get in and out in time, you're good, and you don't invest like insane amounts of your money, and the rest of you kind of and conservatively invest. So yeah, cryptos are very hot now. It seems to be moving away from the weed stocks and into the NFT crypto space right now. Where I'm sitting pretty right now, a little bit ahead of the crowd, I think. And we'll see. It may crash down horribly with me holding it, but then again, I'm not holding such a large amount of my portfolio in it that it matters.
Um, when you
And cryptos are one of these cyclical things.
Yeah, when you stream this stuff, do you have like a small audience already that are investing, that are like
Yeah.
because I would imagine in your neck of woods you would attract a certain type of person, and they would probably gravitate towards you because you sound like you know exactly what's going on. And
Yeah.
how do you how's the best way to put this? How do you position yourself as like, hey, I'm not your personal investment guy, but I'm here to kind of give you some advice? How do you
Yeah.
manage people that want to know like, okay, tell me where I should invest?
Yeah, I generally don't do that because I think it's I will probably go away someday,
Right,
be it because my Twitch channel died or because I feel I've said everything I need to say,
right.
and it's getting old and I'm financially free. I wouldn't need to, but not right now. I'm enjoying the hell out of it, and I couldn't see myself ever not doing it. But then again, saying that I'm going to do it forever is you never know with these things. Someday I may wake up and be like, "Fuck, do I have to stream today?" And obviously, some days I do have it like that. But if that becomes the norm, where I'm like, "Oh, it's Wednesday, shit, I got to stream,"
Yeah,
I'm not having fun anymore, and then why bother?
I would agree with that.
So the whole point of what I do with my money is so I can have the freedom to tell my boss to fuck off one day, and then why would I impose rules upon myself?
No, that's true. That's
Right?
that's very true. You're in a pretty cool segment of Twitch, and it'll be interesting to see how that develops and see
Yeah.
how your year goes. Um,
Oh
I,
yeah, and as to the people coming to me for investment advice, my exact portfolio is on my Discord. You can go see it right now if you want to, and you can buy whatever I own,
right.
excluded, NFTs and stuff. You can't get in at the prices I got in, but if you kind of want to mirror my stuff, you can. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because I have a pretty advanced portfolio, and I've kept parts of it vague for specific reasons.
Do you
And
guys do you
so
guys
that's
discuss on your stream like upcoming like waves or whatever? Like, hey, you guys should be looking at this, or are you just generally like,
yeah.
hey, this is how you do it? Because like I know some investment streams are more like, hey, let's talk about like these 8 stocks coming up, or for example, that's all. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I do that too. I do sort of a mix of those. Right now I'm kind of keeping my head above water and just trying to keep up with the markets. But my long-term view of it, when I get like this summer, I'm sitting down making a full personal finance course, making a PowerPoint, making it all good and rehearsing it a few times. And then I'm going to put that I'm going to stream it live and then put it for free on YouTube forever.
that's awesome. You're gonna do it for free, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And it's going to be like a product. It's going to be like a real personal finance course.
I
No
think that's
bullshit, no haha, gotcha. Now you've done 20% of my shit, or none of this. I'm covering one topic a day for the next 10 years. So technically you get everything you need off my YouTube channel, but it'll take you fucking a year or two to sort that shit out. I'm making a personal finance course, which is you'll have 4 videos per weekend. You sit down, you get some homework to do for that week. You sit down the next weekend, you do it again, and you do that for 9 to 12 weeks, and you're fucking settled.
that is amazing because most people would use the other end and be like, for $129 you can buy my course, and you're taking the opposite
I can
approach.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so that's
Well, I
noble.
think I am sort of having this replace a charitable organization I'm running, and at the end of the day, I am very, very passionate about teaching people about money. And if this course, gets any traction or whatever, that would obviously be good for my Twitch channel at the end of the day. But I'm not doing it to make money. That's not
Right,
my shtick.
right. Um, Speaking of teaching people money, I have a fair segment of people that are, possibly 13 to like 17 in age in my stream, just by the nature of the games I
Same.
play
Yeah.
and everything else. I mean, it's Twitch. You're gonna have all kinds. The adults, I feel like
Oh yeah.
they've had a little bit of time to kind of learn about investments, but somebody that's just in high school or something like that, maybe they can't buy stocks today, but they want to get into it. Maybe they want to help their parents invest and stuff like that. Like, how do you reach kids or young adults to get them going? Because here in the U.S., we don't teach this in school.
Yeah. We don't hear either. And I have kids that age in my Discord and on my Twitch stream, and I give them a special tag in my Discord if I find out who they are, so that people can know that we're talking to somebody under 18 right now. Because your advice would obviously be different from somebody who has the potential to get a job and do stuff like that. And I also made a section called "No Stupid Questions," where anyone can come and ask me anything about money, and that's sort of a no judgment zone where there are you can come ask anything, and you'll get a professional economist answering you.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that there's resources out there. I as well, I'm sure you've heard me say it as long as a lot of people. I have 5 kids, and three of
Yeah.
them are underneath the age of 18. But I know that at some point they're going to want to do this, and so I'm really glad people like you exist out there for them.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
you
Well,
know,
longer term, right now I want a general personal finance thing, but maybe if I see that does well on YouTube, I'll do a how do you teach your kids about money, like what's age appropriate for children and money sort of course, and take it from there and get more and more specific.
is there any value in a savings account for a younger person? Like I said at the beginning, that
Yes.
you used to be able to get, at least like 1%, as far as your money back if you put some money in your savings account, but it doesn't exist today. What would you tell
True.
somebody that says, I don't need a savings account, I'll just get a Robinhood account?
I would say that's a dumb idea. You need money set aside for emergencies. So I usually have a year in my savings account, which, full disclosure, I get 0.75% interest yearly, which I'm losing to inflation, obviously, a lot of it.
Right.
But it's just about minimizing the hit right there. I'll be filling that thing up, with a reasonable amount of money every now and again to top it off. And that's just kind of what I'm paying for insurance, I guess. So
That's a fair way
I
to
would
look at it.
say have enough money in savings account that you don't need the money. If it's like a protection blanket for your investment portfolio, where if you put all your money into stocks and something bad happens, now you may have to sell your stocks at a very bad time. Whereas if you have a year in savings in a savings account, now you just eat off that for a little while.
I always tell people they should have at least 3 months worth of funds sitting in their bank account, for that particular reason, because you
Yep.
just don't know when you're going to lose everything. Whether it's,
I
maybe
have about a year's worth
a,
personally.
a year is probably out of reach for most people, at least where I live. I mean,
Mm.
everybody has a different like threshold. For me, I personally enjoy like a 6 month window, because I feel like 6 months would give me an opportunity to get back on my feet if I didn't get physically hurt or
Yeah.
something like that, but allow me to find some kind of source of income. But at the
Oh, for
minimum
sure.
though,
Yeah.
to not be scared and freaking out what's going to happen tomorrow, I always tell people 3 months, but try to get up to 6 months or
Yeah.
even beyond, obviously.
Yeah.
When,
And I would say this is also case by case based, where it depends on what sort of situation you are in with, debts and and financially speaking, people do have different situations. Where I work, I spend a lot of my free time helping people one to one with personal finance issues, trying to help them, save and get out of debt. And I have, and obviously, I have a lot of artists. If you've been in my Discord and seen, you see a lot of artists with beautiful works, and I try to help a few of them start making a little bit of a living off their art. And so I do a lot of one-to-one coaching, and I think at the end of the day, that is extremely invaluable. If you feel the need to, improve your financial situation, that would definitely be something that is worth spending a bit of money on. But be very careful, because there's a ton of charlatans in that neck of the wood also.
There's
So,
so many Charlton. I can't speak today, dude. There's so many bad people everywhere. Like even in video games, man.
yeah,
There's
charlatans
always somebody
everywhere.
there to scam you
Oh
out of
yeah.
something. But I
Oh,
don't.
for sure. Yeah.
The only way to fight that is through education. That's the only thing that you can use for that. Um,
Which is what I'm doing long term with everything I do.
do you
So
collaborate
this
with?
is an education channel.
Right, right. Do you collaborate with other finance people on your stream at all, or plan on it in the future if you don't already?
Wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't do it right now. Every now and again, I'll have my viewers come on and hang out on stream. But I like having a good collaboration. If it was somebody where I respected their content and I think that they are real, yeah, I'd be happy to. The thing with me is I'm not rich. Like, I'm not financially independent yet, but
Sure.
I'm also not in a space where I need money. So I have no need to shill anything. If you come to me with a well-paid sponsorship that is shit, I'm not taking it.
Which is
I
nice.
don't need that money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Um,
do this to help people at the end of the day, good or bad, or right or wrong. I'm into helping people.
when you are not online, when people don't have your content to view, um, do you have other people or personalities online, YouTube, wherever that you point people to, like resources, like, hey, just so you know, these three people for example, you can trust. I definitely recommend watching their stuff. Do you have anybody that you have as like a go to that you send people off to?
I would say that the fire movement is generally the best place to find somebody where you can. But the fire movement is a very niche financial movement. So yeah, the two blogs, Early Retirement Extreme and Mr. Money Mustache, and then obviously the book Your Money or Your Life. I think for your personal finance, those three are some of the best resources you can get out there.
Finding the
And
the good
as of
resources throughout all the shit that's out there is some of the hardest stuff you
yeah,
can get to, man. Like there's no review system, when you buy something on Amazon or whatever, you can read what everybody thinks about it, but when it comes to like content, we really need some kind of, well, not a Yelp for content creators, but we need like some kind of way to say, yeah, don't go and watch this stuff. This
yeah,
stuff's bad. So I do like to ask those
and
questions.
obviously with I'm trying long term to make my Discord into a resource that people can use, where in like the personal finance sections, I made like a little goal list. So it's very rudimentary right now and very simple. But I'm doing my best to get these things where I'm going to, again, I'm making a very high quality, where I want this free product to be something you would gladly pay 100 or $150 for.
Yeah, well, adding the value is the hardest part because it's so hard to read somebody else's mind. Like, what do they need to know? What do I share?
Yeah.
What has been shared a million times? That finding your own spin can be very challenging.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. 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 Definitely.
You said that
But
you're an
that's what I'm trying to do.
oh, it's just fantastic. You said that you're an economist, or
Yes.
okay, so. Do you do stuff like Freakonomics? Because when somebody says to me that they're economists, I'm wondering. I don't know if you're familiar with the two Stevens that do Freakonomics. Have you ever heard of those guys?
Don't do them. I've heard about them.
Do you operate any way
It's
like they do?
isn't it more game theory
No, no,
based,
these guys
where
are
it's
like they basically take like situations, and I'll give you a perfect example. Like as an economist, from one's an economist and one's a journalist, so they do a little bit of research. They take like
right?
what's happening today,
Yeah.
and they try to answer how we got here by using
Oh, I see.
their finance. So it's an excellent book for anybody that's not familiar with like Freakonomics, super Freakonomics. I mean, it's a little bit not related to what we're talking about per se, but I'm just wondering if you ride any kind of like situation like that. Like, do you ever take like how this coin got here and how we are? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's a very important part of any sort of research you do into anything, I'd say, is figuring out how we got here. Because that's how I base my opinion on what's going to happen in the future,
yeah.
moving logically through the timeline. So for sure, I do the same thing. But they maybe do it better than me because that's their main focus. I do it because it serves a purpose to me,
I
if
think
that makes
the
sense.
one thing that scares me, and the reason why I asked you that question, is I can remember months ago, my brother pulled up in the driveway. He was coming home from work, stopped by my house, and he says, "Man, I just bought this stock." And I was like, "Based on what?" And he was like, "Well, it was going down, so I wanted to get it on discount." I'm like, "So what? Tell me about the company. Tell me about like what products are they rolling out? Like what? Why are you investing?" And his answer was, "I don't know. I don't read that stuff." And like my heart sunk. I was like, "This guy's gonna lose everything." And so
Yeah.
that's why I ask you that
Well,
question,
the
because
problem is you get lucky
yeah,
sometimes.
like he
So,
just
and then they get confident.
exactly. And like a lot of people, I feel like do get lucky, and like I don't know how to get them to just stop what they're doing and please go research what you're putting your money into. Um, how do we
This
change
is the lead the
these
horse to
minds?
water sort of situation. Yeah. I can only show you what I know, but with what I do is it's not a sales pitch, right?
Right.
I not I can't make outrageous claims because I can't keep those promises. And so what I do is, I have it's here if you want it. If you want to go get burned at a few other places before you come back here, then you feel free to do that. Some people get it the first time, and some people need to learn that this isn't the best way to do it, and then they'll come back to a more conservative or measured way to do things, which is what I do. And
I
another thing I find is a lot of people just get burned and then they go, "Oh no, this investing thing is just a scam," and
right.
then they never go back. And those people, unfortunately, are going to live old age out in poverty most of the time.
I definitely feel like I want to slap a lot of people whenever they say that. They're like, "I don't know, man. It looks like it's going
Yeah.
it's on discount. I'm grabbing it now." Like, wait, stop. I really feel like
Oh yeah.
um
Well, if it's a quality stock, that's a great idea. But if it's a
sure,
shit stock, then it
yeah,
may
if we're
just be
talking about
getting its final
Coca-Cola,
dues.
that's one thing. But if we're talking
Yeah.
about like, Harry's Antique Market is selling their stocks for 50 cents each, maybe you should stop and look at it a little bit. I just feel
Yeah.
like a
Are
lot of
people
people
into
jump
antiques,
on.
right? For sure. And you see a lot of these pump and dumps, right?
Yeah.
In crypto right now, and people go like, "Oh, if I just bought this whatever coin for $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 at this price point, I'd be making a gazillion%." But good fucking luck selling a few billions of those shit coins at the top of that market
All right.
without crashing it.
Yeah.
Good fucking luck. That market is thin.
Yeah, you got to look at the daily
That
volumes
market is
and
thinner than
everything
a
else.
yeah, exactly. Where you can liquidate maybe, now you're a on paper multimillionaire, but you couldn't liquidate more than a few 100,000 at the top of that thing, which, obviously still a great investment return, but you're not set for life money at that point, for sure.
Do you have people that you try to steer away from? Like, I'm not trying to create drama here, but like, is there anybody that's like on the main stage, either on a global level or like even just in your country, that you feel like are steering people the wrong way? Like, hey, that's not how you do that. Like, don't watch this guy. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Dave Ramsey here in the United States.
Yeah.
He hides behind his religion. He does a lot of like, he comes off as a really nice Southern like gentleman and knows what he's going on.
Yeah, I
He's
know Dave
confident.
Ramsey.
But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't say that he's doing anything bad, but I get always like, internally, I'm just kind of like, oof, I don't want to take advice from this guy. Obviously you have to be careful
up until
with
baby
that.
step 4, Dave Ramsey's fucking great.
You say he's
Wherever
great.
he goes. Up until baby step 4.
Okay.
After that point, he gets kind of wobbly for me because the first one is you get $1,000, right?
Yep.
In your little baby emergency fund, which I think is great advice. And then he says, do the debt snowball, which, some people say pay off the thing with the highest interest. Then, there's a whole thing there where if you're into the debt snowball, you are making a psychology play, being most people have a really hard time dealing, and especially people who have gotten into financial trouble are geared towards instant gratification.
Right.
So you're using their own psychology against them to pay down their debts, which is a really, really good idea. However, it's not the most efficient way, but it's like working out in fitness, right? It's the best program you can do is the one you actually do. So if you are one of these people who can pay the highest interest off first, and you got to be honest with yourself, because we will bullshit ourselves all day long being like, no, I'm disciplined and I'm good at doing things. And, I wake up at 5 a.m. and go for a run in the pissing rain and eat broccoli and chicken breast every day because that's the kind of person I am naturally. But we're not, though, are we? So if you can be honest enough with yourself and say, you know what, maybe I should do the debt snowball as opposed to the most logical way of paying the debt down, then I say that's pretty good. And then the third baby step is, obviously he says at this point you got to fill up the rest of your emergency fund. I think he says 3 to 6 months, which I say is completely fine. I like having a year.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. Let's see. I'm going to see what step 4 was just.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
and then step 4 is invest 15% of your money after that. So, after that, I'm all good. I'd say if you keep following that and you just, save and invest and do the whole thing, you'll be financially fine completely. But he gets into this weird, like the baby steps is a decent system, but it's not like great system where I wouldn't necessarily advise you pay down your home too early in life.
I would agree with that fully.
I'd say that's more of a, I don't like him having blanket rules for stuff like that. Up until that point, me and Dave Ramsey are pretty much on the same side. However, I do know he gets into some fucking shady shit with like his supposed professional investor network and his real estate. Like what does he call these guys that he like endorsed providers, I guess.
Yeah,
is the name, which
I forgot completely about those, dude. You're right. Oh my God, I forgot about those. Yeah,
so he's got
ads.
that, which is kind of shit. Yeah, they are ads. It's very easy. Like I saw a guy on YouTube, he became one within a week or something. But he sells it on his podcast like it's this fucking huge thing. But I have sort of a soft spot for Dave Ramsey because that's kind of how I got into personal finance, and I think his stuff is great. Like if you're very new to finance and you don't know a lot about finance and you're a complete newbie to personal finance, I think Dave Ramsey is fucking great. I think he's amazing for you because he's very motivational. He's kind of this grumpy old man who would yell at you about money. And I'm frankly a little bit sad that he's kind of pulling back from his podcast. But I had to stop listening to it because it got very repetitive for me. Because obviously I've been listening for years at that point.
Certainly, I'd listened. I was a listener for a long time, and I never bought his course or anything like that. But I liked the messages that he was putting out there. I think it was the politics and the religion part that separated me from him.
Exactly. I think his personal finance course is a decent one. Like if you take that and you follow it, you're going to be financially fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad in his personal finance course or his baby steps that is going to ruin you. But it's not necessarily the best way to get rich. Right?
No, I would agree. It's kind of like I feel like it's kind of like the lower middle classes way to like survive, I guess, right? If you use his
Yeah,
means. I mean, obviously, if you have money, you're not listening to Dave Ramsey to begin with.
exactly. Yeah, the richer I got, the less Dave Ramsey made sense. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. He gives you the basics, but he's not really coaching you or
Yeah,
anything like that. So, yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
exactly. So up until Baby Step 4, I'm completely on board with Dave Ramsey. Uh, 5, 6, and 7. I'm sort of on board with Dave Ramsey. I'd say, you'll probably be fine if you follow his advice all the way through. But it's not, I don't think it's the best way. Also, he made like that budgeting thing. That was pretty cool. I
Yeah.
remember that, having that thing. That was pretty good. Now I use Microsoft Excel like an adult, but I did enjoy it while I had it.
I mean, everything evolves, right? So there's
Yeah.
that. Um,
My financial situation just became way too complicated to use his stuff.
is there somebody else out there that's doing good things that's not Dave Ramsey?
Well, again, I refer back to the FIRE community, which I think is the gold standard for financial advice,
Okay.
where we will have our, like, if you could go to the Norwegian one, which obviously you wouldn't understand much of, but the other day we had like a probably short novel discussion about like this super obscure tax thing on an investment product, which is super niche and made for like a very specific group of people, which is sort of a retirement product. And it'll get debated there, and people will nerd hard. Where we have color coded Excel spreadsheets with heat maps for when this thing would be a good investment or a bad investment. So the people in those communities are generally, they don't give a shit about you. They don't look to make money off you. They will generally look to help you, and that's what I'm creating in my Discord also, where um, I'm not here to sell you a course. I have nothing to sell you, and I just, come hang out, and if I can teach you some good stuff, then we can have a good time and have some laughs and have a few memes and play some video games and watch anime and geek out, and then you can learn everything you need about money and taxes and all that. Then fuck, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, certainly. Would you mind sharing what your favorite video game is? I'm curious because we have talked a lot about finance, but I'd like to know just a little bit more about you too.
Oh yeah, for sure. But by the way, I realize I'm saying the FIRE acronym like people understand what that is. FIRE is an acronym, FIRE, which stands for Financially Independent Retired Early. And people get all uppy about retired early. It means you have the ability to retire early.
Right.
There's nobody forcing you. The whole movement is about freedom to do whatever you want. Where the reason I can sit here and talk to you today is because I don't need to work today. When I was starting my studies and stuff, I would probably have to work today to pay bills, which I don't need to anymore because my investments have started paying off in such a way that I could theoretically liquidate those to pay for my lifestyle as a student, in addition to my government grants and stuff. But yeah, my favorite video games change a lot, but I do enjoy good story-driven games. So if you ask me like all time, I would say probably Divinity Original Sin 2, The Witcher 3. Let's see here. I do enjoy like a good Disco Elysium was one where holy shit, that game is good. I'm reinstalling it now that I got voice actors for it.
Nice.
Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance I really enjoyed. I'm sort of looking through my Steam library now, just giving tips, I guess. Oh, man.
No, it's good. I mean, we've been talking about finance. I just figured I'd break it up with more of a personal question.
Oh yeah. I'm
Just kind
happy
of see
to.
where you're coming from a little bit.
There's some classics like Heroes of Might and Magic 3, obviously.
And do you stream these at all?
I streamed The Long Dark, and then I streamed a little bit of The Long Dark, also an amazing game, a bit shorter but very very good, highly underrated game. So you should pick that up if you don't have it.
I will have to go check that out. I certainly.
It's a winter survival game in the Canadian tundra, and the story is: imagine if Telltale games were good games. That's what The Long Dark is.
All right, that's fair. I like that. It's nice. Humanizes you a little bit. right? Kind of know that you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
something other than just finances.
Oh, I do all sorts of shit, but I'm an insane person.
Right, right. Just a little side note for everybody that's in the audience. We're coming up on like the hour and a half mark, and I did just turn on ask the guests the question. Hopefully the bot's working, but if you guys would like to start preparing your questions, we're going to continue the conversation, but I will sprinkle in your questions as we go. If there's anybody that would like
Yeah.
to be on the voice chat and you're in the Discord listening live, you can raise your hand and I will bring you on to ask a question, assuming I know you and you're not just going to come on and be toxic. So feel free to ask the questions, and we'll do that as we go.
Yeah, man.
I have a question for you in the meantime while everybody starts thinking about what they would like to ask. But
Go
when do
for
you
it.
know when to stop investing and actually utilize your money?
I'd say when I have enough of it. So what I do is the calculation is pretty simple, especially if you're using index funds. So we can do it for your sake, right? Obviously, I don't want to make you go into super details about your personal finances.
Sure.
But let's just, for example, say, would you be comfortable throwing out a number of how much you would need to live per month, roughly?
Yeah. It'd be around $10,000 a month.
10,000 a month. That's a lot of money. But yeah, okay. So that would mean
Sorry.
you need 120K a year, roughly.
Yes.
Right. So taxes and all that, so probably 150,000.
Right.
So if you were to retire, you would need 3,750,000. And the way I found that number is index funds, usually you get 7 to 8% a year. So accounting for inflation, we found out that you could relatively safely, over a 20 to 30-year period, take out 4% of your money from starting point till end and adjust for inflation. Meaning you could take out 150,000 and then put 2.5% of inflation on top of that every year until you're done, dead, hopefully.
Okay.
So by using that formula, I basically do 150,000, which is what you would need before taxes, and then I times 25, which 100 divided by 4, 25. So that way, when you reach that number, you're financially independent.
Well, that's
Which
some good info.
yeah, that's a very my number personally is I would need about 2,500, but that is before taxes. So I would need about 30,000 US a year to
Okay.
live. So my retirement number is about 750,000 US. And at that point, I wouldn't need any more money. Right. So at that point, investing becomes a game.
Right.
So at that moment, saving money would also become redundant, mostly.
Right. And to be clear to everybody, I was rounding up like a lot. I was
I
rounding
can
up
imagine.
for the sake of numbers. But I also have 5 kids with a couple in college. There's, I'm at the point in my life where I'm probably spending the most money I'll ever spend. Because, I'm
When
in
you
the
retire, I think that number would probably be 3K at most.
Yeah, I mean, like once like the kids move out and it's just me and my wife, it would be substantially lower, but I'm maintaining a household of 6, and and most of those are adults, so
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it gets expensive quickly.
we do have
That's what I'm saying is.
Yeah,
So that's the amount of money you would need to maintain your current lifestyle. It's 3.75 million.
I better
At
get
that
to
point,
work.
you would never need to work again.
Right? I better get to work, man. That's for sure. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, but that's why I'm saving 50 to 60% of my income,
That's
so
fantastic.
I can basically get there within 10 years. So I'm looking to retire at 42, financially speaking.
A lot of people that live outside the U.S. Really, really, really benefit for not being screwed over in a system that's already set against you. Most people in the U.S. cannot even imagine taking 50 or 60%. We don't even have free healthcare, so it's definitely challenging.
Well, I challenge that a little bit because the FIRE movement is bigger in the US than anywhere. So people are doing it in the US and succeeding. And it's
Oh,
not just high income people. You have people making 45 grand a year doing this.
I mean, for anybody that's able to, I think it's amazing. I think
Yeah.
that's awesome. So I would never discourage. I just know there's a lot of people that are against the odds here in the U.S. Our
Oh, for sure.
poverty
Yeah.
line has increased while our middle class has shrunk, and there is a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm not saying that it is for everyone. It is definitely, a bit of a luxury to be able to do that. But that being said, what I meet is a lot of people basically whining and complaining, and they're living way beyond what they need to. And
That's
they are
true.
going, no, it's impossible for me to save money.
Yeah, sometimes
So
you don't go
I'm
out
not
to eat
speaking.
4 times a week.
Yeah, if you got 3 jobs at fast food restaurants that you are traveling between and your kids at home and you're barely making ends meet because you're making like $2,000 a month or whatever. Yeah, this is, you need to fix that shit before you get into the fire movement, because it's a non-starter for you. But if you are making 40 or 50 grand a year and you got a spouse or whatever that's doing the same and you got a kid or two and you're bitching to me about how you can't afford to save, get the fuck out of here.
Right, right, cut and dry right there.
Yeah.
We have a few questions from the audience, and I'm gonna try to sprinkle them in. I hate sharing the limelight because there's so many questions I want to ask you, but I do
No,
want
yeah, you go for
I
it.
definitely
It's
want
fine.
people to get their
I
questions
still got a
in.
bit of time.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Commander Gary asks, "What do you think of Dogecoin? Do you have an opinion?"
I think it was a wonderful way to send cryptocurrencies between people before all this started. And right now, I think if you're buying Dogecoin, you're asking to lose your money.
I always
You
felt
may,
like it was a meme
see a
coin.
huge gain. Yeah, the balloon right now, Elon Musk is kind of going a bit crazy on Dogecoin. Let's just go see what it's like priced today. So it's at 39 cents, I say. See,
Okay,
which means it's gone up again. It was like 25 at some point, but
somebody
it's
pumped it.
such a volatile coin. And if you're betting on it, you're basically looking to get lucky.
Yeah, I always feel like
So
that's a gamble.
if you got in a month ago and now you're sitting on a shit ton of money that you can liquidate, I'd say go for it.
Yeah, I would get out too.
But if you are looking to get into it now, I'd say you're taking a lot of risk. You may get rewarded, but let's just say it goes to $1, which is what a lot of people are saying. Oh shit, what if it goes to $1? Well, you just tripled your money. Congratulations. That's an amazing return. But it's not I turned $1,000 into 400,000 that you would have had if you invested like a few months ago. So that party is over. The
Yeah,
risk reward just isn't there anymore.
and I think that goes for a lot of things. Usually there's a big party in the beginning, and then usually, it's either a
Yep.
slow incline or a slow decline. That's where your research really has to take part.
Yep.
So, all right, the next question comes from Tulips. She says, "What is the best way for someone to get started in investments?" And I know I've kind of asked this question a couple times there in this, but I know that
Yeah.
she's just popping in. For those that are just coming in, would you
Oh,
mind
that's fine.
addressing that
Yeah.
one more time?
For sure. I'll do this all day if need be. If this is something that they can get value out of, I'll do this all day. So I'll make it very clear. If you have car debts or credit card debts, those are first in line, right? You pay those off as quickly as you can. The first thing I like people to do is get like a small emergency fund. Actually, I think Dave Ramsey's pretty good here with $1,000. Get $1,000, that'll fix most of your small boo-boos. Once you've done that, get together 3 to 6 months of emergency fund money. And that's cost, that's not income. So that's if you are making $2,000 a month and you need 1,500 to run your household, then 3 months is obviously 4,500, and 6 months is obviously at that point 9,000. So if you can get to that point, now you're ready to start investing. And if you're really hardcore about it, then this depends on your income and whatever. I saved about 28,000 last year, to put it in perspective, as a full-time student in Norway, with a job on the side, that is. So you can definitely get there faster than you think if you really take a look at your spending and you you really look at it. So at this point, I would say that's a year to 1.5 years to 3 to 4 years, depending on your situation. If you got some super expensive car debts and stuff, then it's going to take longer, and you may want to consider selling cars and doing stuff like that to make ends meet. So let's say you've got all that. You're debt free, except for the good debts like your house, and in Scandinavia, I would say student loans are basically good debts because they're government insured and they're about 1% interest rates. So there's no reason fucking around with them. They also get canceled if I get sick or anything. So once you've done all that and you're ready, I would say start investing in index funds. And I would want you to invest, first of all, in your local index fund until you got a few thousand there, which would be, if you're in the US, would be the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones. If you're in Norway like me, it would be the Norwegian index funds. And then start branching out a little bit, where you get Asia and you get, Europeans, and get all the different big ones, so that market economies aren't messing with you too much. Now, let's say you've got like 10 grand in there, 10 to 15 grand. At that point, I would say now you're ready to start branching out into some slightly more speculative investments, where you can start thinking about getting some cryptocurrencies, like in real amounts. If you want to put a few $100 in it or whatever and just play around, and you do you. But at this point, you're ready to start making some more speculative trades. So that would be my general advice for people to when they are ready and how they should start investing. And if you want to see what my portfolio looks like, it's available. I don't recommend it, but when I'm doing my personal finance course, I'm going to do like a few portfolio breakdowns of how your portfolio should look in different stages of your financial independence.
I think that's great. I think it's incredible that you offer that. Most people have no idea how good getting that kind of advice is. You said a lot in that.
Well, it's not attractive advice.
Yeah, you said a lot in that answer, and but this was right after the next question. The King of All Decks has asked you, when do you think people should start investing?
As soon as you can. So the thing is with people, when I say you need 3 to 6 months, they go, "Oh, it's going to take forever to start investing." I want you to invest as soon as you can. If I can get, I have a little brother and sister. I had those little fuckers investing before they were legally allowed to.
I want to ask you the opposite of the question. When should you stop investing?
Yeah. Never.
Is there an age that you're just too old?
No. I mean, obviously, it depends on what plan you want to make. If you're you have 5 kids, right?
Yep.
So anything you invest, if you are dying like a multimillionaire at 80 something, then that money is going to be a great boon to your kids, right? So why wouldn't you want to stop investing? You would want to make that pile of cash as big as possible. But if you are, and even if you're single and you don't really have any people that inherits your money, then why wouldn't you just give it to charity when you die or something? Where it's like this big bag of resources that you get to control even after you're dead. So you can just make a will and say, fuck it, I want to do whatever with this money. Like if you want to hire somebody to every week come and urinate on your grave, and you set it up so in such a way that can be done, then fuck it, you do you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Right? I mean,
it's your money.
Even myself, I'm trying to create intergenerational wealth so I can hand money down to my kids so that they don't have to live life as hard as I did. So it's just an interesting question, because I often hear from that community, like, I'm in my 70s. I don't need to invest. I need to just ride this thing out, or 50s or whatever it is. And I always think, like, I mean, if you can squeeze a few dollars,
enjoy poverty.
Yeah, right. Just don't let your money work for you, I guess,
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Lil Say. He says, what cryptocurrency would you recommend for somebody who wants it to start right now? That's a loaded question.
Bitcoin, if you're starting out, I would say is the easiest one. But just buy some Bitcoin and hold it until you start figuring out what you're doing. But my personal portfolio is I hold Student Coin, Ecomi's Omi, Polkadot, Ethereum, and those are the coins I hold. I have some CKB, but it's like $1 worth, and I was given it as a like a thing from Binance, like a promotion thing they did. So it's not a real part of my portfolio. I've disclosed it mostly for transparency reasons.
Okay, let's see. Nice, simple. I like that. Let me see. We got another one from Tulips. She says, like, I want to get into Bitcoin, but I don't know if it's a good investment. Also, what are good investments for college? I will be there in a bit. Thank you.
Hi, Tulip. It's nice to hear from you. I would say good investments for college is actually just having money. Obviously, when it gets to a point where it's, I would say you're ready, like to answer the ready to invest question again, very generally is you're ready to invest when you have so much money that it doesn't make sense to put it in savings accounts anymore. And I would say if you're going to college, you are most probably going to be broke for a lot of that time. And I would say having money easily available in a high rate savings account where you can take it out again, when your friends are wanting you to come drink and have fun with them, could be a lot of fun and a good way to have it. But obviously, if you have like 10 grand or whatever lying around, then that would be unreasonable for a college student to need that much unless something went really wrong. And I would say, anything in excess of that is probably good investment. And at that point, buy index funds, which any bank worth its salt will offer index funds. And in the US, I believe you have Vanguard, which is the best one.
Vanguard funds. I do have a couple of them. Yep.
Yeah. Vanguard index funds are usually pretty good. So it depends on how much money there is. If there's like $1,000, I'd say put that in a savings account, and you are probably going to fuck your personal finances up the first year living alone at some point, and it would be very good to have a little bit of money lying around to fix that fuck up.
Yeah, mistakes will be made.
Sure.
We do have another investment question, but this is more of an investment in your body. We'll assume that he wants to know what kind of person he's working with here. So grow hoopy. I wasn't going to ask you this, but I actually, it could be a fun question. He says, all
right, go for it.
Would you rather eat Burger King or McDonald's? How do you address that question? Are you the type of person that eats out?
That's a hard one because I think I don't eat a lot of Burger King or McDonald's. If I'm being honest, like my daily routine is I wake up at 5 a.m. and usually hit the gym. So I'm one of those people.
But good.
I think Burger King has the best burgers, and then McDonald's has the best fries. So it's kind of a toss up to me. But if I had to pick one for the rest of my life, McDonald's has some killer promos, but Burger King I feel is more consistent. So I would have to go with Burger King. Yeah, I know that in the US I just became very unpopular right now, but
no, actually
Burger
I like
King
even
is
more,
the
dude.
only place that has a restaurant here.
I had Burger King last night, and I don't like to eat out that often. I think, especially in the investment world, I would say you need a lot of your brain cells working together to make some really hard decisions. And I think the way that you treat your
crap out through.
Yeah, you put crap in, you're getting crap out. So I like hearing that you work out in the morning. I definitely try to limit myself of like how much garbage I put in here, because my brain is the most important tool that I have. And I want to make sure that I'm feeding it right. I want to make sure that we're doing it right, So it actually turns out it's a decent question to ask.
Yeah. I mean, my daily routine, it gets kind of nuts where I work out. I wake up at 5 and I try to be in the gym by 5:30 or 5:45 in the morning. And then I'm usually there and I get back and have showered and eaten breakfast and then all that by 9. And then I'll do university work or regular work or whatever I'm doing that day from 9 till 4 or 5. And it's at that point that I'm free to do stuff like this, where I can stream or hang out or play video games and all that. So I'll usually do that until about 10, and then it's bedtime, so I can get up again and do it all again the next day. And that's a 7-day a week sort of gig for me.
So you're the type of person that really likes a rigid schedule. Would you agree with that, or?
Yes. Yeah, highly. Obviously, I'm flexible to where last night we had a few drinks and it got a bit late, so I'm up later today. But because I've done this for so long, sleeping in for me is like 7 a.m.
Oof, I don't know if I want to tell you what time I woke up today then.
Well, people are different, but that's just my rhythm.
Yeah, no, I
Like
mean
I
it's
we tend to fetishize hard work, and I don't like it. I think if you wake up at 11 but you do the same amount of shit that I do, then why am I better because I wake up earlier?
I used to think that you had to wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. to be productive in society. And I've found that in my after the military years, my retirement years here, I say that loosely.
Yeah.
I'm not retired, but like, um, I find that I go to sleep anywhere between like 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. and I sleep until I'm ready to get up. Like it's not really a streamer schedule. It's just more of a natural, like, I don't have a job to go to. I don't have university to attend.
Yeah,
So I can just
exactly.
kind of like let my body just do it. And so
Yeah. Well, I
I'm,
kind of
I'm a
learned that
mess.
discipline in the military as well, where I fold my clothes, I make my bed, I do that whole thing,
Yeah.
clean my place. I don't let it degenerate into too much of a mess because you, it's my house and I should respect it. So yeah, I had my year in the military. In Norway, we have conscription, so I did infantry service for a year.
Oh,
I
snap.
was CQB. Yeah,
Yeah. Luckily, we
I
don't
was
have
a QRF
inscription here.
forces. No, no, but it was fun.
Or I
I
mean,
enjoyed it. I shot
conscription.
some guns. Had a
Yeah.
good time.
That's
So
pretty
we did
cool.
QRF, which is Quick Reaction Force, which Operation Human Shield is what I called it.
Hmm. I don't know much
Which
about
if the
you
base
guys' military over there.
gets attacked or anything happens, we are the guys responding. Well, QRF is quite an international thing. It's whenever something bad happens, like the caravan is attacked or whatever, we are first responders, which is why I call it Operation Human Shield, because usually the QRF dies while everybody else is getting ready.
During your time, did you ever see anything crazy, or was it uneventful?
No, no, no. Yeah, it was uneventful.
That's good. That's
We had
I
we
was
had a
I was
few
hoping that you weren't going to give me an
incidents.
answer.
Yeah, no, we had a few incidents, but nothing major.
That's pretty cool. Just so the audience knows, I have asked all the questions. If there are any remaining questions, we still have a little bit of time, and you can feel free to get any of those in there. Um, this
How
this
long have
is
we been going today?
we're coming up on the 2 hour mark, so I know that it's
Oh
late
shit!
over there, and I appreciate that you've even taken this time to come on and share these thoughts with us. It's such a new thing
For
that I'm
sure,
doing.
anytime. I mean, it's oh yeah, yeah. Well, I'm honored to be here. It's been a lot of fun. So
I
I'm definitely
this has easily been one of my favorites. I mean, the amount of knowledge that was dropped here, and yeah, I'm very thankful, and I hope that we can do this again.
for sure.
In the
Yeah, yeah.
future.
Anytime.
Are you what?
Exams are coming up on my part, so crazy times for
Yeah.
sure.
Let me see. What are some? Oh, okay. We got one more question here from Tulips. What are some red flags to
Yeah.
listen to look or I'm sorry, I read that wrong. What are some red flags to look or listen for when experts, and that's in quotes, are discussing investments? So,
Uh,
how do you know when
yeah,
to
I'd
run?
say a lot of the time going with your gut. Um, like with me, I like to joke that I would be a very dangerous scammer because I kind of know the tricks and I sound very trustworthy. But it's one of these things where if they are promising you the moon, it's bullshit. So you will usually get, if you were to talk to a real investment professional, like if I were hiring unjacked here to be my hedge fund manager, I would ask unjacked what sort of risk uh, is your fund taking, right? So what risk are you exposing me to? And the thing he would say then is, for example, oh, I'm a copper hedge fund where we do, or I'm a commodities hedge fund where we do commodity trading. So I would go, okay, so buying this hedge fund would put a commodity piece in my portfolio, right? And that commodity piece, does that fit in with my general risk management is what I would be looking for. But that's an expert talking to an expert, right? So at that point, if you're speaking to like a real expert uh, and not a salesperson, you will usually get a much more measured response of what can be realistically done. And I would say anybody promising more than 7 to 8% a year are probably bullshitting you. Anybody promising returns or anyone projecting more than that, but anyone promising returns are for sure full of shit. Generally, insurance products are really, really, really bad investment vehicles. So stay away from those. So I would say usually, boring as it sounds, your local banker is probably going to give you decent investing advice. It's probably not going to be great, but it's probably going to be decent. And I'm talking local branch banker, not like fancy suit banker, right? And I would just advise people, buy index funds and call it a day. Don't mess around too much with investing. Let me mess around with it. And if you're interested in investing, and that is a big if, because most people would just want to buy shit and hold it and wait. But if you are interested in investing, I would say educate yourself to the level where these scammers could never get a hold of you.
Yeah, I recall I was 18 years old. I had just gotten into the Air Force, and I was living in the barracks. And there was this older gentleman, I'd say mid 40s. He would wear, a fancy suit with a little bit of a trench coat. And I was living in North Carolina, and I just moved into the dorms, just arrived from Texas. And he would literally go door to door of the dormitories, and he was trying to sell front-loaded life insurance. And he was able to convince a lot of 18 to 20-year-olds to, fire up a check to him every month for years.
Yep.
And
oh yeah,
I would say anybody that's knocking on your door trying to get you to invest, those are some red flags right there. And I'm so thankful that I never gave him $1.
Agreed, yeah.
We're used to the internet being the scam spot, but literally there's still people out doing physical scams.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you can outperform the market, like if you could consistently deliver 9% unjacked, you would have institutional money floating out of your ass. Like the amounts of money people would throw at you would be insane.
Yeah.
You could make like a relatively safe 9% a year. So these people would never need your money, ever.
No, I hope that karma caught up with that guy somehow. It's just.
Oh yeah. If I ever find him, he's going to have a very bad day on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, this was before the internet was really, a thing, but so I don't know how many people are out there still doing it, but I would imagine there's still somebody. There's still somebody going to colleges and sitting in the the high traffic spots and like, hey, do you got a minute? Just here to help you. Canceled on Twitter.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Listen, if you guys got any good financial scams, send them to me and I'll rip them to shreds on Twitch.
Yeah, I think that's great advice too. Have somebody kind of like look over it for you and kind of see what you got going on. That's what I love about the internet. There's good parts and there's bad parts, and finding all the good parts is like the hardest thing. But when you do, you stay with it. Stay safe.
And I also want to say that my channel is mostly financial, but we do a ton of different stuff in there. Like I have a very budding art section that is I'm hugely proud of. We had a huge discourse about existentialism on my Discord the other day, because obviously internet philosopher shit.
Yep.
And we do fitness, finance, food, which are the three big F's, and then we have art and most of the other stuff. So it's more of a hang than really like a strict financial. I want it to be a place where you can come find some good friends, meet some good people, and collectively we can make each other better, where I have people that can cover my weaknesses in there, where if I need advice on art, which I'm trying to get into drawing and painting more, I have some amazing people that are willing to help me there. And if they are looking to get into money, they got me. And if I'm looking to get into fitness, which I'm kind of already into fitness, but if I were to have some blind spot where I needed help on my deadlift, for example, I could post a video to my Discord and get critiques. So it's just an amazing place if you're looking to improve yourself in any way, really. And that's kind of what I'm setting it up to be, where the money is kind of the gateway drug to the self-improvement.
Yeah, I think building a strong community is difficult, but if you have the goods, if you have a reason for people to be there, I think you're well on your way. And
Yeah.
it is probably a good place to wrap this up and say, you know, what an amazing just knowledge drop here today. I love this. And what I'm going to do is, for those of you that are watching this maybe later on YouTube, look in the description below. All the links to the Internet Philosopher is going to be there. Check out his channel. I appreciate you doing this so much. There's a lot of people out here that are just so used to me watching, you know, play balloons or Among Us and stuff like that. But it's really nice to kind of take a break and put out something of value like this. There's so many people that really want to invest, but they're not sure how to. And knowing that there's a channel like yours makes me feel a little bit better in the world. You know, like, at least it's not a hot tub stream with the Internet Philosopher. You know, not that there would be anything wrong with it, but, you know, I'd like to...
Let's not put stuff off the table just yet. You never know what the future might bring.
Right. That's true too. Well, listen, let me give you a couple minutes. The floor is yours. Where can you tell people to find you? Where can, like, I don't, go ahead. You have it. The next couple minutes. Go for it.
Listen, I mostly just use my Twitch channel, which is the _internet_philosopher on Twitch. And my Discord is obviously linked there. I can put my link in Twitch chat for you.
Oh, no, don't worry. I have it up on the screen.
Been reading up on your chat and stuff because I've been focused on... Yeah, great.
Yeah, so, no worries.
I just entered it. So you can find my Discord through there if you want to come say hi. I just want to help people. Obviously I love people doing Twitch for entertainment, and I think entertainment is super important. And I want to make my stuff entertaining also. But my main goal is to try and help people as much as I can. And I know there's so many fucking bullshit salesmen and charlatans throwing their shit around the internet that I really want to be sort of a shining light cutting through the bullshit. So I did another podcast for ESPA, and I told a story to end it, and I figured I may tell the same story here again.
Please do.
So I have two siblings, and a little brother and a sister. I have 5 siblings actually, but these two I told about this, and I sat them down when they were a little bit younger than they're now, like a year or two ago, and I explained to them that the more you are willing to enact self-discipline upon yourself, the less the world can push you around. So if you are disciplined with your money, where you take care of it and you save it and you invest it, you will never be at the mercy of your creditors, because they can't fuck with you because you set up a safe and good situation. And you can move some of the pieces around in society because you have the money to move those pieces around. You can enact your influence and power. If you take good care of your body and you eat the good foods and you work out and you make sure that you are taken care of physically and mentally, you will not necessarily be at the mercy of the healthcare system, especially for dumb shit, where you can, to a certain degree, control where you will have a good functioning body that will serve you for years and years to come. And if you are disciplined in social matters and you're a good friend to people, where people can rely on you and you keep your promises and you keep your word, you will become relied upon and cherished in society. So through self-discipline, there is freedom. So the more you discipline yourself, the less people can push you around. Follow the law and the state can't tell you what to do. Save your money and invest it, and your employer can't tell you what to do. And that's, if you follow that advice and you put that into every aspect of your life that you can, you will be completely fine and you will live a long, prosperous, and happy life.
That's some great advice. What an amazing opportunity here. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you being here. I'll catch you over on Discord in just a second, but for everybody that just tuned in, I appreciate you more than you can imagine. And if you want to see more podcasts live on Twitch like this, just look for every Sunday. We're going to be trying to get a new guest on here. And then Monday through Friday, I stream regular. So thank you guys for being here. All the links are in the description for anybody that's watching this later on YouTube. I appreciate your time as well. Thank you so much for checking us out. And don't forget to come over to Twitch, check out the Internet Philosopher, check out Unjacked, and we'll hang out. So Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow for those that will join on a regular stream. And again, thank you. Give it up for Internet Philosopher. Please make sure you go over and follow him as well. Give him some love. Show him it was worth his time for being here. All right. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.